So, as a front-end developer, in modern times, most of the websites that you build for clients are probably going to need to be responsive. It's just standard protocol at this point, but there's still wide variations in how responsive design is implemented. So for example, the sample site that we've been building throughout this series is one that we supposedly got from a client. Chances are the design came from the marketing department, where they know what the important messages are and the important branding is, and so they've tried to integrate those things in with a site design. Now, on the whole, marketing departments don't know an awful lot about what it takes to actually build a website. And so what they've supplied us with is a single mock-up that describes how the site is supposed to look on a desktop. So we haven't gotten any explicit instructions on how the site is supposed to look on a tablet or a mobile phone. This means we're in a situation where we're going to have to figure that out ourselves. From talking to a number of different front-end developers, this is a pretty common scenario. The mobile and tablet versions of the site are afterthoughts, and they don't matter to the client nearly as much as how it looks on their computer. And that's totally fine. It means you'll have to make some executive decisions about what happens as the browser gets smaller in size. And while that's kind of added responsibility, it also means that there's less expectations at those smaller screen sizes. The client doesn't have a preconceived notion about how it's supposed to go. So that's one scenario, and it's fairly common. Another common scenario is that a client will provide mockups for the desktop, the mobile, and the tablet version. And so you'll get 3 separate mockups for how the site is supposed to look in those 3 different positions. Sometimes this is very helpful from a front-end developer perspective because the client is giving you more information about their expectations. The downside, though, is that sometimes those mobile and tablet and desktop versions don't mix very well with one another. And the code you end up writing in order to allow certain elements to display on one of the versions but not another, or differences in the layout in those different versions, they may be challenging and require you to make compromises that you'd rather not make as a front-end developer. So that scenario is getting more and more common as companies and organizations start to get exposed to the idea that their sites are being viewed on lots of different devices. Now, a more rare scenario, but one that's kind of an expert front-end developer's dream job, are projects where the mobile version of the site is the priority and the larger versions of the site don't matter nearly as much.